Yeah, looks like we're live. No, not that one. There we go. Pain. Always good when the first comment of the stream is pain. Okay. Morning or afternoon, I should say. It is Sunday. I'm a little bit late this week with comms, but here we are. We're still doing it. We're still cracking on. This is round 6 of Tier 3's GT7 LR Championship, and we are 3/4 of the way after this race into the season. We're at Le Mans today, or the Circuit de la Sarthe, or whatever you want to call it, the one in France that's really long and that has the 24-hour race. Not going to be a 24-hour race here. It is going to be a 4-lap race, which is around about 15 minutes, and then a 10-lap race, which is just over 40. So let's go through the grid order. I can already see the top 3 is not the usual suspects, so this is going to be an interesting one. So in P15, we have Whack Jumps in the Mazda RX Vision. He hasn't been doing too good these last few rounds after a very strong start to the season, so not sure what happened to make him start right at the back. Next to him is Hurricane, who got his first podium of the season last round at Catalunya, but he's in the Subaru, which has the worst straight line speed, and he's actually qualified behind his teammate Kanata for one of the first times this season, if not the first time. Kanata P13 in the other Subaru, and then we got Skinsey in the other Mazda. So this is the guy who's P2 in the championship. By far his worst qualifying of the season. I don't think he's ever been outside the top 5, let alone the top 10 in qualifying. So maybe just got some penalties. You only got 2 laps, 2 hot laps to set a qualifying time because of the length of the lap. So potentially he just messed up both of those. Major in the Gen X lines up P11. Again, he's usually a little bit higher. Then we got Riaba in P10. He's a race winner so far this season, but only qualifying 10th in the Peugeot LCZ, which isn't great at straight line speed. So he could get overtaken by the Mazdas and the Genesis behind him in the race, unless he really nails the exits of these corners. P9 is the first Porsche of Brian's. Probably, well, it's another one that has pretty bad straight line speed. In fact, most of this grid has pretty bad straight line speed, so it kind of evens itself out. Dado P8 in the Beetle, another one with bad straight line speed. Pretty solid qualifying for him. P8 again. Filthy P7 in the Lexus. Slightly better straight line speed than the ones we've just been talking about, but still not great. Peaky P6, our championship leader. He was P7 in qualifying. He's P6 today, so he's not had the best last couple of rounds in terms of qualifying. But he did manage to win the sprint race last time out in the Beetle, despite starting so low down. So potentially could do the same. We have to wait and see. You can never write him off. He did buy a wheel, but he's not using it. He's still using pad for the rest of the season, and then he's going to switch to wheel for next season, is my understanding. Yuri, his improvement in ALR over these last 3 rounds has been pretty awesome, I should say. Oh, I think it started last round actually, and he's continuing it with a P5 in his AMG there. And then P4, we've got the lead Lexus of Pagel. This is the driver who won races in Tier 5 and got moved up after a couple of rounds into Tier 4, and he's qualifying right at the front there, so he's doing pretty well. And then P3 is the Porsche of Claus, really, I would say, outperforming that Porsche. It's really bad in the first half of the lap and really good in the second half of the lap, basically, this car. And then at the front, it shouldn't really come as a surprise, is this is probably the meta car in Le Mans, the GR Supra, the Toyota GR Supra. It is really good at straight line speed, really good at fast corners, and it just suits this track perfectly. And we've got Denz in P2, who we always see qualify well, and Woozy getting his first pole position of the season. Fantastic qualifying by him. We're not used to seeing him right at the front. I think he's had a couple of rounds where he's struggled to get into the top 10. So he's going to have an opportunity to really make the most of the speed advantage that this car has and try to maybe get his first win in ALR. He's been here since, I think, season 6 or 7, Woozy, when he first joined ALR. Took a little break and now he's back, but he's still never got a win despite all that time. And we are in season 12 now, so basically half of all seasons that we've done GT7, Woozy has been around. So I bet he will be a little bit nervous at the start of this race, but let's get cracking. Let's see how this first lap of 4 gets on. We are starting at dawn. The lights are out, and away we go. It looked like a pretty good start there for Claus, but obviously he's going to start dropping back straight away because he's in the Porsche. Pretty decent start from Pagel. He's threatening Dent, as is Yuri. It's 3 wide in the battle for P2, but Woozy looks like he's got P1 wrapped up at the moment. Yuri might try to get... Oh, there's a little bit of contact. And, oh no, that looked like it was Yuri's fault. Let's go back, let's go back, let's go back. Let's start on board with Yuri, so he just gets past Claus incredibly easily. The Mercedes does start really well, and now he's 3 wide, and he's actually got a little bit of a run on Woozy. And yeah, ooh, I don't know. That wasn't reported to the incident to the stewards. It might have just been a racing incident, but we carry on. So Woozy's fantastic opportunity of getting his first race win is over in turn 1, lap 1. And that's good news for Dens, who had not the greatest of starts. It probably would have been down to P3 if it hadn't have been for that incident. He is up into P1 with Pagel P2. Yuri is down to P3. Claus recovering to P4. Peaky already up into P5. Then Major up 5 places. Dado and Skidsy up into the top 8 already as well. Now we are in the first section of the straight. So basically the straight is one long straight, a chicane, or another long straight, a chicane, another long straight, a hairpin, another long straight, and a little squiggly bit, and then we turn into a bit of an infield section with lots of fast corners. But it looks like Dens is consolidating P1 as we head into the first chicane. Very wide there from Pagel, and he loses position. Actually, it was Claus who went wide there, and he loses a position to Pagel, and he's down into P4. And it looks like Dens extended his lead there, so he's not going to get overtaken into the second chicane. Yuri might come under a little bit of pressure from Pagel, so let's stick with these two. And basically, the exit for the chicanes is incredibly important, because if you get a poor exit, you just mincemeat for the car behind. As we head into the second chicane. Looks like a pretty good entry there from Yuri. Took a lot more speed than Dens and has managed to create a little bit of a gap. And he's back into Dens' slipstream, so he could potentially have a little look into the hairpin that we're approaching next. A little bit further down, we've got Claus is at the head of a little field, well, a bunch of cars there, all the way down to, I think, P9. But let's stick with this battle for the lead, because that is the most important thing at this moment in time. Looks like Dens goes very wide and gifts P1 to Yuri, so Yuri has taken the lead of the race. Dens looks like he's dropped all the way down to P3 now, and Yuri and Pagel are now in a drag race all the way down this straight to what I called the squiggly bit. It is a very fast right-hander, which is very difficult to go side by side around, and then a very slow couple of corners following that. And they're still drag racing. Yuri looks like he's just about won it. Pagel's actually lost out to Dens there because he had no slipstream. Maybe it would have been a bit wiser for Pagel to tuck it into the slipstream of Yuri. Everyone's avoided a penalty so far, which is very impressive. And Yuri's got a little bit of daylight ahead of Dens here. And Dens is, well, everyone. Oh, what has happened there? Let's rewind. It looks like Pagel lost control. So we head into this very, yeah, Pagel just, oh, I don't know what he was trying to do there, but that wasn't a good idea. Now he's got front bumper damage. He's lost places to Claus and Peaky, and he's down into P5. And he's got Major closing the gap very quickly now as well. Excuse me. I've got Kanata telling me the actual names of the corners, but I prefer the squiggly bit to the official name. And Major gets P5 from Pagel, so he's gone down from challenging for the race lead to P6, and we're still on lap 1. Let's rejoin the guys at the front. Yuri has probably a 1 second lead at this point over Denz, and it's going very well for Yuri. He's was leading much of the feature race, but I think he got he made a poor strategy decision, stayed out too long on the mediums, and lost his chance of a podium in the feature race last time out. So this would potentially be his very first podium in ALR, and it could be potentially a victory. But we have 3 more laps to go, and he's got a GR Supra bearing down on him. So if he's going to pull this off, he's basically got to make no mistakes between now and the end of the race. It's actually called Le Squiggle. Thanks for that. I knew I was close there. Le Squiggle. Looks like Pagel's lost another position to Dado there as well, so he's down to 7th now. Let's have a quick look at what's going on further down. So Brian's must have had a terrible first lap. Whack Jamps isn't making much progress. Woozy, after his first lap incident, is only in 13th, so he's got a chance of recovering into the points. And then Hurricane and Filthy are outside the points. Kanata actually in the points. Oh, what is going on here? Everyone is incredibly close. It looks like Pagel's fallen completely outside the top 10. Everyone's going wide at the corner. Let's stick with this little battle for now, because I don't have a clue what is going on. And Pagel's got a 1.5 second penalty. Pagel at this point will be lucky just to get a oh, he's getting pump drafted though. He'd just be lucky to get any points out of this race, to be honest. The final chicanes are actually called Mega Shite. The final chicanes are horrible for penalties. The second to last one is very easy to get a penalty. So basically, what we've got here is Filthy is heading off this group of cars. He's quite fortunate that he's got a Subaru right behind him, which isn't going to be closing the gap as quickly as some of these other cars. However, he's still managing to get the overtake done because of the strength of the slip here as we head into the checkered chicane. Looks like Hurricane's got the job done there. But he's got a 2 second penalty, so he's going to drop completely out of the top 10 here. Anyway, let's go back to the top, because we still have a 3-way fight for the lead between Yuri, Denz and Claus. Claus really sticking with these guys. It looks like Denz is finally going to try and have a move as we head into the hairpin. No, he backs out of it, and Yuri keeps that position for now. Denz goes a little bit wide, hits the gravel, so he's potentially going to lose a spot to Claus, who pulls wide, but Claus gets a half-second penalty for the way that he took that corner. So maybe, well, if I was Claus, I'd just be pump drafting Denz as much as I can until the half seconds, so that I don't lose P3 to Peaky there, who's just quietly working his way into contention. Although what Peaky really needed was a bit of slipstream. He's not got good straight line speed in that Volkswagen, and he isn't benefiting from any slipstream. Looks like Claus actually overtook Denz. He had the opportunity and he took it, and this is good news for Yuri, who's extended the gap a little bit on these guys, and he's got this buffer of a car with a penalty who's just about to serve it. Oh! Nearly lost it on the exit there on the curb, but managed to save it, did Yuri, and Claus is going to lose that position to Denz, and let's see if that brings Peaky into... No, Peaky's a little bit too far away. Looks like Skinsy and Dado, I guess Dado's had a little penalty there as well, because he's going to lose a spot to Riaba as well. And then Filthy is in P9. Woozy's already recovered to P10, but now he's got a 1.5 penalty. Hurricane's 2 second penalty puts him into 11th and under threat from Pagel. Pagel's going to try and move around the outside there. That's never going to work. And Brian's already recovered a couple of places with Kanata and Whack. Whack is all the way at the back here, having a miserable time. But in the battle for P1, we see Yuri has got a half-second penalty, and Denz is going to try and move into the first of the final chicanes, and he gets it done very cleanly for Denz. And it's potentially, if Yuri's taken the chicanes completely wrong, and now Claus is going to have an opportunity to try and get Yuri into turn, well, it's going to be turn 2 with the first braking zone. The Porsche is very, very good on its brakes, and Claus could potentially, if he decides to go late on the brakes, get that position. Let's see what he tries to do. No, he tucks in behind for now. And this is good news for Peaky. You can see Peaky's closed the gap quite a bit there from where we last followed this fight. So he took the squiggle very well. Whack driver of the week. Well, there's still some time to go. He could put on a recovery drive. Pub owner of the week, yeah. So, lap 3 out of 4. We are on the back straight for the third time. A half-second penalty for Yuri. 2.5-second penalty for Claus. Peaky doesn't have any penalties, so he's at least going to get P3 this lap as long as he doesn't shit the bed. Major P5, having maybe his best drive for quite a while here, in the top 5 comfortably, and a huge gap between him and Skinsy, our other championship rival, in P6. Skinsy kind of on his own a little bit. Riaba's not too far away, but not going to be troubling him. A 3-second penalty for Dado is going to potentially drop him outside the points, but the guys in the lower regions of the point scoring positions this race are getting penalties left, right and centre here. So Pagel might end up back in the points before the lap is through, and potentially Hurricane as well. But let's rejoin this battle for the lead. Looks like Dens still hasn't done much to shake Yuri or Claus at the moment. The penalties here were insane. Yeah, the penalties. So the best explanation for how you get the penalties here is there are solid white lines on various parts of the track, and if you go over them, you can still not be touching the curb in the corner, but you will get a penalty because the white line is actually the track limits, which is unique for Le Mans on GT7. It's a bit of a rubbish rule, and when you don't gain an advantage, especially by taking the line that you take, but you still get the penalty, it can feel a little bit brutal. But that is what the game has decided to do, and we all have to try and adjust our driving accordingly. Looks like Claus might try a move on Yuri here. So this is a part of the track where the Porsche is at its slowest when it doesn't have slipstream. So Claus has been very fortunate that he's got like a double slipstream pretty much all race here. If he was on his own, I think he'd be struggling. He wouldn't be in the top 5, that's for sure. And he's going to try a move, and he actually gets it done in potentially the most difficult place on the track to get an overtake done. Claus gets P2 for now, and he's would be on for his, the fastest lap of the race comfortably if he didn't have this penalty that he's about to serve and gift P3 to Yuri. And let's see if Peaky can take him as well. It looks like Peaky's going to just slide on through there. Yeah, Peaky's in P3. And once again, all of the stars seem to be aligning for the driver who didn't qualify too well, but other drivers are shooting themselves in the foot, and he is now in the podium position, but he's going to have to defend this for another lap and a squiggly bit. Got Skinsy. Skinsy's not too far away from this group, so if any major dramas happen, he could get a top 5 by the end of the race, but he looks like Peaky at the moment is going to be extending his championship lead. One thing to note is I don't think we can rule Dens out of the championship just yet, because if he gets a good result here and a good feature race result, I think he won't be too far away from those two, especially if one of them has a bit of a nightmare. Yuri on for his first podium of the season and his ALR career would be a pretty solid result for him. Definitely a season of 2 halves for Yuri. And Peaky defending quite hard at the moment from Claus. Claus all over the back of him. I think this is the battle to watch as we head through Sector 1. Oh, Claus has another second penalty. It was just getting interesting, and it looks like a comfortable podium here for Peaky, unless he makes a mistake in the next few corners and gets himself a penalty as well. Claus is going to go for it, it looks like. Oh no, it looks like a little bit of bump drafting's going on actually. Always cool, always safe. Okay. Is that like a condom advert slogan? I don't know. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of teamwork going on between the Beetle and the Porsche driver here. Claus in no mood to try and get an overtake done at this point of the track. Maybe Claus is thinking about conserving his P4 and stopping Major from getting it, but Major's been caught by Skinsey now, so this is really wobbly there on the exit for Major. Skinsey's got a great opportunity here into the hairpin to get the overtake done. They've both got pretty good acceleration on them. I think the Genesis has a little bit better acceleration, and the Mazda might have slightly better top speed. And it doesn't look like Skinsey's been able to get the move done yet, but we can see that Claus did overtake Peaky. It looks like they're still battling, actually, side by side. I think Claus maybe got a poor exit there from the hairpin. And actually, Major's gapping Skinsey a bit here. It's not going to happen. It doesn't look like it's going to happen for Skinsey. He just doesn't... Well, Major's just driving too well, basically. Now the question is, can they catch Claus with his 1 second penalty? Claus looks like he's a little bit too far up the road there for them to catch it. So it's basically now or never for Skinsey. This is the last straight on the track of the race. He's gone to the outside as we go into the next corner. So this is advantage Major still. Skinsey does have a nose ahead. Actually, he's got his full car ahead. Major tried to do a late lunge, but decided to back out of it. Skinsey does have P5. So it looks like he's only going to lose 2 positions, which I think it's either 3 or 4 points. I think it's 3 points in the championship race right now. But let's rejoin Dens right at the front, who started P2. He's going to be coming around the final 2 chicanes now to take a great victory. He's going to get fast slap as well to reduce the gap in the championship. This is the guy who's P3 in the standings. Very strong drives all season long, not necessarily translated into results, but it has today. Dens P1, Uria's best result ever in P2. Peaky, very solid P3 from down on the grid. Claus, a solid P4 for him. Skinsey recovered to P5. Major's best result for a while in P6. Another solid result for Riabe in P7. Hurricane managing to drag that Stuber into the top 10 once again, showing just how he's taken the maximum out of that car, basically. Filthy P9, Woozy recovering to P10. Then we got Whack, actually P11 in the end. Pagel, for some reason, just shat the bed in the sprint race, ended up P12. Brian, bit anonymous, P13, Kanata dropped down from the top 10 to P14, and probably due to penalties. And Dado, who was up into P6 at one point, is actually going to finish last and start on reverse grid pole. And that's it for the sprint, so let me go and find the feature now. Pretty good sprint race there, very close racing, and actually the guys at the front were very good at avoiding penalties, much better than in Tier 2, where we were getting penalties all over the place, but I think we were a little bit closer together. In Tier 3, I think the top 5 managed to break away pretty quickly, and when you're not fighting as much, it's easier to avoid the penalties, basically. And that's going to be a different story in the feature, because we've got the fastest guys making their way through the field. They'll have to go offline quite a lot and potentially fall victim to these mysterious white lines that are on the track all over the place and give you penalties if you cross them, even though it feels like it should be part of the normal racing track. It was penalties, yeah. Oh well. I can't wait for you to have a good car with some good straight line speed, Kanata, to actually show these people what your actual pace is like, because you just have no chance with the way that you keep picking horrible cars every season. So let's do a quick read of the tire situation and just see if anyone's starting on softs. Peaky is starting on softs, even though he's starting P13. That's a very interesting and unadvisable strategy. So he's going to burn through his softs trying to make his way through the pack as opposed to starting at the front on softs and building a gap, which is basically the only way that the soft strategy works. Let's see if anyone else is going to be starting on the softs. Hurricane's starting on the softs as well. Again, I think P8 is too far back to be starting on the softs when everyone around you is going to be on mediums. And even pole position's not starting on softs. So you've got P8 and P13 on softs, everyone else on mediums. So Hurricane's got 7 cars ahead of him on slower tyres. Peaky's got 11 that he'll have to get through in the opening 4 or 5 laps before he makes his pit stop. But let's get going. This is a rolling start, and it's going to be 10 laps because we have to do lapped races here because the track length is so long. Advantage Dado as the lights go off, and it looks like he's got a pretty decent start. Kanata's start is a little bit shaky. Looks like he's already under pressure from Brian, who could get up into P2 straight away. He backs out of it though. That would have been a perfect opportunity for Brian. And now we've got Whack Jams and Pagel just behind, battling for position already as well. So Pagel definitely has the pace. We saw it in qualifying and in the first lap or two. So he could be on for a podium or a win here. Looks like Brian's lost a little bit of momentum, and Dado's just driving away with it at the moment. And Kanata is potentially going to be the head of a little train here. So it's going to be who blinks first. Are they going to be working together? Are they going to be bump drafting to try and extend their lead on the cars behind that are meant to be faster, or are they going to try and battle and potentially fall into the clutches of cars if mistakes start getting made? Looks like Brian is going to go for the move. This is a drag race into the chicane, and it looks like Brian was punted there, or maybe it was Kanata was punted there. Let's rewind and see what happened to Kanata. So we've got Pagel behind. We've got a little drag race here. And this is where the Subaru, I think, is going to start pulling away from the Porsche. Actually, no, the Porsche brakes early. Pagel goes into the back of Brian, who goes into the back of Kanata, who is now all the way down into 6th with dirty tyres, and I'm sure he just wanted to kill himself after that happened, after the sprint race that he had as well. Doesn't look like he's going to get a penalty, though, which the game is pretty good if you get knocked off track into a penalty area at not giving you the penalty for that. But Kanata's going to lose out to Filthy now as well. So he's lost maybe 5 seconds there. Meanwhile, the battle at the front, it is a Porsche at the front of this battle, which is not the best car. Looks like one of the cars got really squirrely there. Whack looks like he took a lot of curb there. He might be getting a penalty himself, but Brian took the corner the best. Then it's Pagel, Whack and Woozy. Woozy already up into P5 there. We got a half-second penalty for Whack for crossing the white line and taking too much curb in that chicane. A little bit further down, Kanata is ahead of Filthy at the moment, and Riaba's in this little battle as well, as it looks like they're too wide going into the hairpin. Now let's hope everyone can negotiate this hairpin comfortably in lap 1. It looks like they are a little bit wide there for what is that purple car? Number 9. Oh, it was Brian. He's all the way down into 11th from the top. So let's rewind and see what happened to Brian. Oh, looked like a plume of fire there. So Brian is in P2. So does he get bumped from behind, or is this oh, Pagel 2 corners in a row. Oh, this is bad. Pagel needs putting on the naughty step here. He doesn't know how to brake and factor in the cars in front. It looks like he's slowing down though. But yeah, that's Kanata. Well, actually, he went into Brian, who went into Kanata in the first chicane, and now he went into Brian a second time in basically 2 braking zones. So Pagel's dropped down to 7th, but Brian's down in 11th now. Anyway, let's see what's happening at the front. Dado's got a comfortable lead at the moment. Whack Jams is in P2, but he's got a half-second penalty. He's about to gift P2 to Woozy. And like we said, Woozy was our pole sitter, had a lap 1 incident, and he's potentially going to be in P2 on the first lap of the feature race. There he goes through now. And so Woozy, for me, is in pole position to win this thing. If he can have a composed 10 laps, he could easily do it, to be honest. Then we've got Kanata's up to P4 now, and Riaba and Filthy because of all that, all those problems that we saw. So despite Kanata getting bumped off, he is still 4th in the race, but he should be up there with Woozy and Wack, to be honest, a couple of seconds further up the road. Pagel is in 7th. Peaky already up into 8th, our podium sitter and our championship leader. He's on his soft tyres, remember, and he is going to be held up every... Well, actually, he's lost a lot of momentum there. He might get overtaken by Major. Actually, everyone's queuing up to overtake Peaky, so I don't know what he was playing at on that last corner, but he took it incredibly badly. And he's gone really wide into the chicane. Major's through. That's Hurricane, sorry. And Peaky's down to 9th already. So, back to the front. Into turn 1. Dado has a very comfortable lead here. Could be on for his best feature race result. Dado seems to do better in sprints than feature races, and I'm not quite sure why that is. Woozy hasn't really started driving away from Wack since he overtook him, so Wack having a little bit better pace at this part of the race that he's shown so far this week. And it doesn't look like he'll get close enough to Woozy to try and move, but he will be benefiting slightly from the slipstream. A little bit further back, this is where the chaos starts. So we've got Riaba, who's wanting P4 off Kanata, and to be honest, I think he might get it. He's definitely bump drafting Kanata a little bit down the straight at the moment. Basically, you want to kind of bump draft at the beginning of the straight and then try the overtake at the end when if you end up having the overspeed. Or you just work together in the opening laps and you start fighting in the second half of the race for positions. Those are the two probably optimum strategies to kind of do in a track like Le Mans or somewhere like Daytona or Monza as well. It can work. Because if you battle too early on, you're just costing yourself loads of time if the attempted overtake doesn't work, or you end up going side by side for several corners, which can easily happen, which is about to happen here because we're going 3 wide into the second chicane. And Kanata has the outside line here. Someone's definitely going to be getting a penalty. Riaba's won that out, and Filthy is still in P5, and Kanata's dropped to P7 now because Peaky's taken advantage of that as well. We had Pagel very wide on the exit there. Let's see if anyone's getting a penalty from that. It looks like, actually, everyone seems to have gotten away penalty-free from that chaos, which is interesting to see. Now we've got Claus and Major battling in the battle outside of the points. Looks like Claus is defending quite vociferously here. Everyone is making it through on lap 2 at least. Let's see what's going on further up again. So still, Wack Jumps, well actually, Woozy's started reeling Dado in there. That gap is definitely smaller than it used to be. And Woozy seems to be dragging Wack Jants along, so the top 3 have some clear daylight between themselves and Filthy, but Woozy's just got a 1.5-second penalty. He won't be serving that this lap though, because the penalty line is just about to appear, so he's got one more lap to try and do something, but this is a huge setback for him, as things were looking very good. He's got a little bit wide there on the exit as well, which might allow for Wack to have a little look at him in the entrance to the squiggly bit. Le Squiggle. No, well, Wack's decided to go around the outside. He would have had the move done if he'd have done the inside, I reckon, but yeah, Woozy's just got enough to hold on to that for now. What's happening a bit further down? We got Riaba in P4 still. Peaky right behind on his soft tyres. Don't forget he's on softs, so he's going to start falling backwards on the second half of the race. And Filthy, and then Hurricane, who's also on softs, is in P7. So Hurricane's only managed to make up one position. Now we've got Skinsy in the top 8 as well. So we've got both championship contenders in the top 8. And when Wes Dens, our race 1 winner, he's still down in 12th, so he's not making as good a progress as everyone else. Yuri is in P13, so he's not had a good start either to this feature race. And Brian is having a mare once again. Unfortunate for him. Oh, Wack nearly lost it, and he did manage to save it, but you can see he lost a bit of momentum there to Dado, whose gap suddenly looks a lot larger than it used to. And again, this is good news for Wack Jams, who's starting to lose a little bit of momentum as well on the top two. So any mistake that Woozy can make is going to help Wack just keep a little bit of that slipstream into this portion of the track. Maybe start to reel in Woozy by the time we get to the hairpin. Woozy's got much better straight top speed than Dado. Actually, let's have a look at Dado's excuse me, speed just before he starts braking and compare it with Woozy's to see what the difference is. 50 to, we should get up to 260 surely. 265 compared to 272. That is the difference. 7 kilometers an hour difference between Dado and Woozy right now in terms of straight line speed, and that is why you can see that gap forever closing, and why, despite the fact that Woozy has a 1.5 second penalty, he's still got a great chance of winning this race, because he's only going to drop behind Wack. He's already got past Wack once in this race. Wack's actually falling behind him as well at this moment in time, so it shouldn't take, maybe lap 4 he'll get P2 back, and he just has to focus on getting past Dado essentially, which he's going to get into Dado's slipstream right after this hairpin, because you can see how, oh, Dado's gone wide and made it super easy for him, so he potentially could inherit the race lead before he serves this 1.5 second penalty. I don't know what he's going to decide to do. Is he going to go for the bump draft, or is he going to go for the overtake? Time wise the bump draft will be quicker, but you would disrupt Dado's flow a bit if you just got the overtake done, which means that after that 1.5 seconds is served, he'll probably be a little bit closer to you. No, Woozy decides against it though. Ooh, slides through that corner but manages to save it. He is sliding quite a lot actually in this race, probably because he's pushing so hard. And here we go, 1.5 second penalty coming up right now. And Wack Jam's comfortably ahead. Woozy's actually going to tuck into the slipstream of Wack there. Actually, there's no slipstream to tuck into because he's lost so much momentum. Now, what's going on a little bit further back? Riaba's in a comfortable P4 at the moment. Peaky's not managed to close the gap to him at all. Then we got Filthy. And then Hurricane with 3 cars within a second of him. Excuse me. And that's Skinsy, Claus and Major there. So Skinsy really losing a bit of time here behind Hurricane, I reckon. But still not too far behind Peaky, to be honest, Skinsy. And remember, Peaky is on the soft tyres at the moment, and he's not extending enough there. Maybe 3 seconds ahead of Skinsy at the moment. Now, Hurricane's actually trying to move on Filthy here. Round the outside, has to cut the corner. Hurricane's definitely getting a penalty for that. Really, yeah, there you go, 3.5 seconds. Oh dear. I don't think I've seen a 3.5 second penalty given in one go at Le Mans, so that must be a ALR record there for Hurricane. And that'll be because not only did he cut the chicane, but he overtook someone whilst being off track. Never an advisable thing to do. So Hurricane's going to drop outside the top 10 there. And he's actually going to start holding up these guys as well as soon as we hit this straight, which is just coming up now. He's still getting advantage out of those soft tyres though. It's giving him enough of a gap as we enter into the straight to avoid just getting caught immediately, which is exactly what would have happened if he was on the medium tyres. And it's probably why Kanata's at the back as well, because this car is bad. It's potentially, well, I think Tidgey's going to do his driver profile on it either today or tomorrow or maybe Monday. So we have to see if the nerfed Subaru BRZ is actually worse than cars like the DBR9 and the McLaren F1 now. It could potentially be. I wonder what Subaru did to Polyphony to get this kind of horrible treatment on its cars. Because, oh, we've got Filthy and Claws going a little bit side by side here into the chicane as well. Also, we missed Woozy retaking Whack here. Let's what happened? Oh, Whack just gifts it back because he goes off track. Okay. Now let's stick. I think we should just stick with this battle between Hurricane and Claws now. Looks like Filthy got shuffled down a few positions there. But you know what? You know what's weird as well about the Subaru? So it's basically, I think it's either the newest car or the second newest car in the game. It's like a 2021 car. And usually, like, we've got the AMG, which is fairly new. We've got the Nissan GTR, which is 3 years older than this, like, favoured a lot more than this 2021 car, which they've decided they don't like, basically. Skidsy's going to inherit P6 here, and he's just going to be one position behind Peaky now. You see Peaky in that little purple car that's just at the bottom of the screen. Incredibly close, everyone here. Everyone's got to take different lines into the corner to make sure they don't ram someone else off track. And here we go. Here's the 3-second penalty for Hurricane. You can see Claus has a half second as well. Half second's not too bad. I think once you get to 1 second, it starts being much more harsh. There we go. Hurricane down to 11th, outside the top 10 in 1 penalty. Then we have Dens in P10 now. Claus P9, Major 8th, Skidsy 7th, Filthy managing to get into 6th in all the chaos. We completely missed that. Let's follow Filthy because Skidsy and Filthy will have a little battle coming up. Man, Claus could potentially overtake Skidsy here as well. Claus is really fast through the squiggle in the Porsche. Here we go, Skidsy's going for it. He's got the inside line into the first chicane of the final 2. Oh! Filthy's coming to the pits anyway, and Dens has followed him. This is a really good strategy option for these two if they can pull it off. They're going to do 6 laps on the softs, and yeah, well, the Lexus the Lexus definitely has the best fuel tank, so it should be able to do it quite comfortably. Dens in the Supra, you can short shift without losing much time at all, so if he's going to be doing that for the rest of the race, he'll be absolutely fine as well. They've taken themselves out of this really tight fight between 6 or 7 cars, which is good for them. Brian's going to try and do the same in the Porsche. But meanwhile, at the front, we've still got a comfortable lead for Dado. His fastest lap is a 40.7 compared to a 59.8 for Woozy. Woozy is lapping quicker than Dado at the moment. Whack isn't, but we saw he went off track a little bit at the beginning of the last lap. And then Peaky on his soft tyres isn't really closing the gap to them. And then we've got Riaba in P5, but he's got a second penalty. Got Claus in P6 with a second and a half. Then we've got Major P7. And something happened to Skinsey. Why is he that far down? Let's go back. Let's ride on board. So he's got Claus behind him. He takes the first chicane not very well. Looks like Claus is just getting swooped past here. And then how does he get overtaken by Major though? Oh, he's had a moment. He's gone off track. and then he's lost momentum going into the most important corner on the track to get right. And that's going to potentially allow Hurricane, who's also given himself once again another penalty here, a chance to get past. Looks like Major actually hit the wall there. He's lost momentum now, and Skinsy might get Major back coming into the first chicane. Excuse me. Talking is ruining my voice today. Oh, very late braking there from Hurricane. Oh dear. I mean, that's the one key benefit of the Subaru. You can brake incredibly late, but that makes it a bit of a hazard of a car to drive around others, because obviously you're used to braking late, you're not used to where the other cars are braking, which is usually quite a lot earlier. So look, Filthy's come out in P12. He is, let's see, he's not that far ahead of Dens actually. So this could be very good news for Dens. They should both be able to get the undercut done on quite a few cars here. Interesting to see that their teammates for these three, including Brian, haven't decided to try the same strategy as them. Maybe they are using a bit too much fuel for it, or they don't have as much confidence in the tyres. Very low tyre wear track is Le Mans, because at least half the lap you're just going full throttle down a straight somewhere. So see, this is the closest that Woozy's been to Dado, but again he's going to serve another little penalty. Now the question is, Dado's led from the front since the start of the race really solidly here. What's going to happen in the pit sequence? Is he going to come out and just carry on as he has been doing, or, well, what's going to happen? Because we've seen before in the features, he starts well and then falls away towards the end. Looks like Woozy might get overtaken once again by Wack here. Not yet. So what I'm expecting now, as we travel through the Squiggle, is all of these cars to box this lap. Potentially Peaky might decide to go one more because he's on the softs. If he saved enough fuel, that is. But look at his teammate. His teammate's completely out of fuel after 5 laps, so he's probably going to be the same. So we're going to see Dado come in. Yeah. Here comes Woozy. Here comes Wack. Peaky does have a little bit more fuel than his teammate, but he is coming in anyway, and he's going to go on mediums. Riaba enters, as does Major and Skinsy. Claus, Hurricane, the other soft runner, is coming in as well. See, yeah, everyone's diving in. Kanata and Yuri. Yuri's not made too much progress so far this race. So that's everyone in the pits, and we're just going to follow Filthy to see how strong this undercut is going to be for him. And for Dent, who is right there behind him, closing the gap definitely. There is an outside shot that these guys could end up in P1 and 2, but I reckon P4 is going to be my prediction, because there was a little bit of a gap between the top 3 and the chasing pack there. Oh, that's going to affect him. Worst corner to do make a mistake there. So it looks like Dado, Woozy and Wack are already out. It's like Peaky's come out in front of them, and Riaba. And then we're going to see Filthy and Dens ahead of Skinsy. So that's bad news for Skinsy. He's got jumped by both of these guys. So Dens has made up 3 positions there because of pitting 1 lap earlier. Filthy has basically consolidated his P6. He still hasn't got past Riaba, who's right in front of him on slightly cold soft tyres. And now we've got Peaky on his mediums getting reeled in by the 2 cars behind him. I have a feeling Peaky might start falling backwards, which is going to be an unusual thing to see for this season. Oh, they're playing the bump drafting game though. Here we go. Is everyone going to nail the braking points? We've actually got Dado. Well, something's happened to Dado actually. Right, Dado is getting overtaken by both cars in one go here. That's depressing. That is the speed of the Volkswagen Beetle. It doesn't have as good top speed as these two cars that were chasing it down, and it was at the head of the pack. And because he got reeled in slightly, that is the suction of the slipstream. So we're going to see if Dado can potentially get the move done back on whack jumps here. He's going to try maybe a late break. Dado did not start on softs, he started on mediums. That was just a very good first stint. Oh, real heavy braking there from whack jumps, and Dado nearly runs into the back of him, but he didn't get any damage, so I don't think there was much contact there. They are all very close together though. And looking at Peaky, does still have Riaba right behind him. Maybe he's lucky that he's got Riaba behind him, who doesn't have the best straight line speed as well. So he's not going to be closing the gap as easily as we saw in the battle for the lead here. But at the moment it's advantage Woozy. Oh, really wide there for Whack, and that's gifted P2 to Dado already. And Dado will be hoping he's close enough to take proper advantage of that slipstream from Woozy in front of him. Otherwise Whack will be having another go into the next corner. Really solid driving from these three though, to be honest. They've not let the chasing pack catch them at all. Dado goes wide there, and Whack just, well, he tried to sweep through, but he got the exit pretty wrong there, and that's allowed Dado to sweep past once again. Dado goes wide on the corner exit though, and Whack's going to retake the lead. So some good battling going on, but because they keep making mistakes that the positions are swapping, and that's going to help Woozy out massively here. Now he's got a little bit of breathing space, and these guys are going to drop out the slip. So they might have to start working together. Bit of bump drafting going on if they want to have a chance of challenging for the win later in the race. Meanwhile, Peaky is still just ahead of Riaba. Riaba's not letting Peaky get away at all here. But oh no! What happened? What happened? Let's ride on board with Riaba and see. He's just got so much more speed. He tried to... he tried... I see what he was trying to do. He was trying to go somewhere to try and move around the outside of Peaky. He was getting impatient. He actually doesn't get any damage there. That's astonishing. But yeah, he ends up running into the back of Peaky. Bit of an unforced error for Riaba, and he loses P5 to Filthy as a result. And now he's lost a position to Skinsy as well, because he's all over the place. And to Dens. And we also missed Skinsy overtaking Dens at some point here. But let's follow on with Filthy, who... Peaky has a new car behind him, trying to get the position. That is just Filthy, who might be a little bit tougher than how Riaba was racing him. Filthy does lift there a little bit though. And he's going to try and move around the outside. He's positioning himself just to unsettle Peaky's car a little bit and get him a little bit offline. Potentially opening an opportunity into the next corner. Not quite. Now this next corner, like I said before, is probably the most important one because it slingshots you onto the straight. Quite difficult to take when you've got dirty air and a car in front kind of obstructing your view. Filthy's got a great run on Peaky, and he decided not to do the bump draft. Oh, what is going on here? That's not good. That's not good. Let's rewind that. Yeah, you could argue that was blocking there from Peaky. He just, because because Filthy would have just swooped right on by. Peaky needed to leave the space there, and he went into, you could see from the lane lines, he went into a different lane there to avoid it. I think Peaky realised what he'd done though. He's lifted off slightly, and oh, actually, no, he hasn't. Skidsy just bump drafted Filthy past him, and now he's going to try and follow through as well. And Denz is potentially going to go through as well, so we're 3 wide here. Let's change the camera angle because I want to see what's going on. So it looks like Denz is going to win this battle. Oh yeah, it's quite comfortable actually. Peaky's just down into 7th already. So despite Peaky's best efforts of, Peaky's absolutely sent it there on Skinsy. Skinsy's going to get the traction out of the corner though. Remember, he is on the soft tyres as well. And oh, Skinsy's got half seconds. See, this is what happens when you go side by side into that second chicane in particular. Just so easy to do. Yeah, that didn't end up getting reported actually, but yeah, that was definite blocking as opposed to solid defending. Yeah, you can see now the cars that have overtaken Peaky are already just comfortably driving away there. So he's definitely, well, he's got no beans and he's got no tyres. Now Skids is going to try and get a move done for the penalty line. And he's comfortably ahead actually. We got that move done quite comfortably there. Oh, he goes a bit wide on exit. Actually, everyone goes a little bit wide on exit, so Skidsy keeps that position. And now he's got 2 seconds though because he went wide, it looks like. So he's serving those full 2 seconds now, despite only getting the 1.5 later on because he already had the half second added to his name. So he's going to lose several positions here. So what does that mean for the standings? Let's have a quick look because a lot's happened this lap. So we have Woozy in P1 and he's currently pretty much a second quicker than his previous fastest lap. We've got Whack P2, Dado is in P3, trying to overtake Whack once again, and we've got Filthy P4 heading up Denz, who will be wanting to get past him. These were the 2 that hit 1 lap earlier than the rest, so they've managed to work themselves up into the top 5. Peaky P6 just ahead of Riaba. Riaba trying once again to get past him after he made that little mistake and ended up a little bit in the wall there. Now he's got his chance. He's comfortably ahead there actually. I think Peaky was letting him through because he wanted to take the corner. And Peaky's journey backwards continues. There we got Skinsy next up on Peaky again, the 2 championship rivals. Once again together on track with Major just behind them in P9. Looks like Riaba got the first chicane a little bit wrong, and that's good news for Peaky, who might be able to take advantage of the slipstream onto the straight. Basically, Skinsy just needs to avoid getting penalties in these last 3 laps, and he should finish at least 1 position ahead of Peaky, if not 2 or 3. He's going to try and move already. So Skids is going to have to get the move done around the outside, but he is ahead of Peaky at the moment, and he's going to have better brakes on those soft tyres. Give each other plenty of space on entry. Yes, and Skidsy's managed to position his car perfectly there, which blocked Peaky's ability to get a good exit out of that corner because Skidsy's car was right there. And now Skidsy's got the slipstream of Riaba to help him, even though Peaky is right up his arse. Maybe Skidsy's going to try and move it. Maybe he's going to go 3 wide into the next corner. Wouldn't advise it. Oh, it's Peaky moved under braking there, it's got to be said, into Major, but they managed to avoid it. Skinsy might be getting another penalty there. He goes really wide on the exit of that corner. And now Major's ahead of Peaky as well. Skinsy gets a second penalty there because he went over the white line. So what's happening a bit further up? We've got Filthy and Dens very close together here. Let's see if Dens can get a good exit out of the hairpin and finally get P4 off Filthy. He's been stuck behind him for about a lap and a half now. Worst track for BS penalties. I agree. I think, to be honest, the penalty lines need changing. We were talking about this, and BX said that even if you had weak penalties, you would still get a penalty for going over the white line, because the weak penalties doesn't remove the penalty altogether. It just changes from, for example, I don't know, maybe not a 2-second penalty, it'd be a 1-second penalty. And a half-second penalty would still be a half-second penalty. So it doesn't help in the same way that I thought that weak track limits would help. But yeah, it does feel a little bit unfair. There's Skinsy dropping to 9th now, so he's behind Major and Peaky. But he still has an opportunity. Look how they're not actually that far ahead. Peaky, Riaba and Major all battling as well into the squiggle. And Riaba consolidates P6 there for now. I think GT7's penalties overall are really good. I think it's just this one track that I kind of disagree with. Mainly because if you're going to put curbs on a track, the curb should be the track limits. Don't put white lines like 2 meters into the track if you're going to put a curb right there. It's ridiculous. So, heading into lap 9 of 10, let's go do another little run through. Woozy looks like, well, he's actually got the fastest lap of the race as well, comfortably there. 58.5 the last lap. Very good pace. Tier 2 pace, that is. Whack Jamps having a really solid, oh, just as we join him, I was going to say a really solid race, but he's just gone, and he's gone wide again. That's going to be a penalty as well. So Dado's going to swoop past him to retake P2 once again. And yeah, Wack's got a 2.5 second penalty. Then we got Filthy, he's got a 1.5 second penalty. And Dens with no penalties at all, despite only lapping in the 4 minutes these last couple of laps. Since he's put on the softs, he's not actually been that quick. But he's got a great chance towards the end of the race because, well, let's just see Dado retaking Wack here. I would say this is definitely Dado's best feature race that we've seen since he's joined ALR. So he's new. I think he did one race last season, but basically new to ALR for this season. Doing pretty well. Going to get his first podium potentially here, because even though he's got a half-second penalty, Wack has a 2.5, and Filthy behind has 1.5 as well. So potential first podium on the cards for Dado, just like we got a first podium for Yuri in the first race. Nice to see some new cars, and actually, the Beetle really has no business being on the podium here. So he's definitely taken full advantage of that reverse grid pole position. And Dens is just probably going to chill behind Filthy before that penalty comes. What's happening a bit further back? This is the chaotic zone of the race, P6 downwards. Oh wait, no, there's another battle going on between these two. It's the hairpin. Looks like Dado's still one out. So he's still got P2 at the moment as they continue their battling. Dens has not got past Filthy either. You have Riaba Major claws with a 2-second penalty, going to drop behind Peaky and Skinsy, who's once again caught up to this pack. Really not a great round for either of these drivers, to be honest, the two championship leaders. I'd say Peaky's main issue was starting on the softs. Skinsy's had penalties all race long. No one's trying a move here. So let's join with Filthy, who's gonna lose his P4 to Dens right here. Den's absolutely dominating this round, to be honest. Won the sprint, he's P4 in the feature. Now we've got Major up into P7. Skinsy's actually got past Peaky here somehow. So let's see. We can't be missing any challenges for the lead between our championship rivals, can we? It's just the tyres. That is purely the tyres that he's managed to do that, and he got that position really well. And now he's going to inherit another position here, because Claus has his 2-second penalty to serve. And now Skinsy can just focus on potentially trying to pick off Riaba and Major in the squiggle in the last, well, catch up in the squiggle and try and get an overtake done on the last lap of the race. But he's got Skinsy once again having a little sniff. But as soon as Skinsy Peaky comes out of the thought he was going to try a lunge there. Not a good part of the track to try a lunge. That's probably going to be it now for Peaky, because Skinsy, there isn't really any overtaking spots solidly here, and it looks like Skinsy's just taking these corners a little bit better. Now Skinsy has to get his head down, try and overtake Major before the end of the race. That corner cut from Major, I don't know. Major really took that final corner poorly there. Now, if I was Skinsy, I'd be going for a move here into this chicane. Big braking zone. He decides not to. Oh, I was about to say Peaky's coming under a lot of pressure, but Claus has once again a 2-second penalty. Oh dear. It's horrible, it's just painful. You can't get any sort of rhythm in this race, because once you start pushing, you just get penalties. Once you start trying to overtake, you're not online, you get a penalty. It sucks the joy out of a beautiful track, in my opinion. And Peaky got that exit all wrong. I don't know if he's going to get a penalty there. It kind of looked like he didn't hit the... Well, he might have been on the rumble strip instead of over it, because he got away with it. But let's see what's happening a bit further up. Any penalties going on here? No. Woozy, a very solid and comfortable lead. Once again, it was a 59 flat last lap. 1.2 seconds quicker than Dado, who finally managed to shake Whack Jamps. Whack Jamps a 4:05 that lap because of his penalties, and then Den's a 59.6. So the GR Supras are basically in a world of their own here. Something to think about for next season, if anyone is wanting a car that has a few more beans than the one that they're currently driving. GR Supra might be the way to go. I think it's not great on tyres though. I'm not sure though, after the recent BOP update it got, how that impacted its tyres. Maybe it improved the tyre life a little bit. If it has, then even though it lost a bit of horsepower, well, losing the horsepower obviously hasn't affected it around Le Mans. Everyone's quite spaced out apart from the battle for P5. Filthy is getting caught now by Riaba. Filthy at 4:03 last lap, basically 4 seconds slower than the Riaba, and that's why the gap has tightened there. Major's got a penalty, a 2-second penalty, so this is going to be a free position for Skinsy for sure, potentially for Peaky as well. Let's see what's happening there. And Claus has an extra second added onto his penalties here. So let's follow on board with Skinsy. Is he going to try and get a move done before the penalty line? Looks like he's not. We're entering into the squiggle now. Really wide exit there for Major, and it doesn't matter anyway because he's going to get ghosted through by Skinsy. So Skinsy's going to recover to P7 in the end. He could have had 5th, to be honest. Peaky's actually going to get 8th, despite massacring his pit strategy, in my opinion. Then we got Riaba really close to Filthy here. But let's join back with Woozy because we are heading into the final portion of the lap. He's had pole position for the sprint and now he's absolutely dominated the feature race. And he's going to take the fastest lap as well, so very well earned first victory in ALR for Woozy. Long time coming, he's had the pace to do it for a very long time, and he's managed to get a win in Tier 3 in the GR Supra. P2, first podium ever for Dano in the Volkswagen Beetle, really good result for him. Whack Jams, after a string of bad luck, is on the podium once again. Den's starting from last, ends up P4 with a solid result for him. Filthy just keeps P5 ahead of Riaba, then we got Skidsy P6. Peaky P7, Major, Skidsy 7th, Peaky 8, Major 9th, Claws in 10th in the end. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Yuri ends up 11th. Kanata we haven't seen at all this race because he's just been at the back, but he's going to beat his teammate who's cut the chicane and going to get himself another penalty on top. He got a half second on top of that. And I think we lost a couple of people. Not sure who we lost there. Let's see who we lost. I think we lost Yuri actually. And Pagel. So I don't know what happened with those two, but a bit naughty. If it was a rage quit, they'll be getting a warning. I don't think they've rage quit at all this season. So let's have a quick look on the standings. Let's see where we are at the moment. I'm just about to release the stewards results as well. I think they're all pretty much done. I'm not even sure we had any reports in Tier 3. I can't remember. But Peaky is first. He's got a 7-point lead now ahead of Skinsy and a 26-point lead over Bad Robot. And then Claus is in P4, 78 points further back, and Filthy's in P5, 88 points back. So it's really a 3-horse race at the moment. But what would have to happen tomorrow in Kyoto is for Bad Robot to have a much better route than Peaky and Skinsy to close up that gap a little bit more, because basically time is running out, essentially. In the constructors, Mazda's got a 19-point lead over the GR Supras, so GR Supras big winners there, close the gap massively on the Mazdas, and the VW Beetles are quite a lot further back, so it is the Mazdas to lose. Excuse me. Next track is Kyoto, very, very, very high tyre wear, so the complete opposite of Le Mans. Should favour the Mazda, which has probably the best tyre wear out of all of these. Maybe the Subaru, it should have good tyre wear still. So maybe they could get a good result, and it's not a high-speed circuit at all. You couldn't get any more different, actually, Kyoto compared to Le Mans. So yeah, join us. I'll probably not take this long next week, so it'll probably maybe Wednesday or Thursday I'll do comms for Kyoto, and we'll see if Pika can continue clinging on by a couple of points onto his championship lead, which is what he's been doing all season. So yeah, join me then. Thanks for watching, guys.